positive / natural changes that people should go through. New hobbies.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That is
lot.
a good one.
What you wear and the way you like do your hair, your facial hair, your grooming situation.
Mm-hmm.
Within reason, right? I know
Totally.
that one's like a very...
Yeah, that can be like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Exactly. So I'm not talking about the high value man that's giving you a long bullet list of how you need to dress and how you need to act and how you need to exist around him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about one thing that girls that I used to date all used to do for me. I am obsessed with rompers. I love a good romper,
not the
bro.
word that I thought was going to come out of your mouth. A romper?
What do you think I was going to say?
Is that just like the sexiest thing to you? Like,
yeah, low key.
He was like, girl, if you just put on a romper,
that's all I need.
The word
That's
alone
all I
is
need.
so like not sexy. Like so
I
not
love
it. But yeah, here you are. You're like, yeah, go just put on a romper for me. I'm dead.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just like that. I love that shit, bro. That shit's fire. That shit's so fire. I love a good romper. I love a good romper, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna apologize for that.
Each their own. I mean, it does what it does.
It does. It does. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get
you don't
into
have to.
A good romper.
Please don't actually.
Please, actually, don't do that.
Yeah,
We're all good.
Yeah. Speaking for the entire audience here, I think we can agree. You don't need to go into detail.
But it's Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Intellectual Podcast, where we're just putting a little sprinkle of nuance to the polarizing conversations of the internet. I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we're your hosts for today's conversation, which is going to be about the very notorious, very problematic changing for your partner. What change is too much? What should you be doing? Should you be even changing for a man? As a man? No, as a woman. Why are you changing for a man?
Yeah.
That's egregious stuff in today's narrative. But as you will see, as you will hear, see or hear, whatever you're doing. Right. We have both of those things now. It's like, both all these things. People do both. People see and hear and view and watch and listen, and it's interesting.
All the senses we're utilizing.
They touch and taste, and I don't know.
No, hopefully not touch and taste.
Hey, yo! You'll see that we agree, right?
Yeah.
That change within reason is necessary.
Yes.
And non-negotiable. If you're not changing at all, there's something wrong. You're not that cool. You're not that perfect. Change is good. Change is necessary. Yes. What you change for and why you're changing, that is mutable. That is open to interpretation. And we're going to interpret it. But before that.
Yes. I found this really funny thing on TikTok that I thought was actually going to be like horrible and mean.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially off like the heels of like that girlfriend thread that was like circulating social media, where it was like guys who like secretly hate their girlfriends and like
that feeling when you slowly start hating your girlfriend over time.
100%.
I feel that.
Which that was scary as a woman. You're just like, oh, for sure, like that could be happening.
In a whole ass relationship, and this guy's like secretly resenting your existence.
Right, literally, like. Yeah, horrible. Break up with that girl.
Yeah,
if
what are you
do
doing?
not like her, that's the point of a relationship. 101, like the person that you're with. Didn't know I need to explain that to people.
Basic, but apparently.
But
yeah, I hate her. Huh?
What? For sure. But no, there was this. It's on TikTok, but it was a Reddit thread that this person like posted that's been going around TikTok, which I thought was really fun. Just to kind of start off a little light and enjoyable. But anyways, this thread said, men who keep secrets from your partner, what kind of secrets and how lame / lethal are these? And so
you think you start to...
I was like, I'm going to get the tea. Like
these
men are horrible.
Yeah, what are you hiding?
They hate their women. That is what's happening.
Yeah, see.
Just to realize that it was actually like really wholesome, a lot of the things they were saying. So I'll read them off. First one, This one was kind of funny to me. Actually, no, this one, sorry. You'll see why I'm laughing. This one's not funny. This one's like very like wholesome and sweet.
Right.
And like, yeah. This guy said, Jolly Collie, that my girlfriend chews her food noisily. She used to have an eating disorder. And so I refuse to ever let her know so she can keep on eating tasty food with me without overthinking it.
That's so
That
nice.
is like so wholesome. He's like, I absolutely hate it, but I'll
Her
never
fucking chewing, but like
I'll
the eating
never tell
disorder.
her.
Yeah.
That is just like, what is like an in-tune partner? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? To like be aware of yourself and aware of the other person. And like,
I'd argue that like there's a lot of examples of men doing that.
oh, totally.
Like, just like honestly, if it's not a crazy thing, no need to bring this up. I
Yeah.
know she's gonna react.
Yeah, exactly.
Unnecessary.
Or how this is going to affect her psyche. Like, what would I rather like be comfortable, like, or not hear her noisy chewing, or her not have an eating disorder? You know what I mean? Like, what are
Pros
we,
and cons.
what
Pros
are we
and
choosing between?
cons. I'd rather her be healthy.
Right, exactly.
I'll deal with a little chewing.
This one's pretty funny to me. This user _error41 said, I love hot, spicy food. She had almost no tolerance for chili and had a shamefully bland diet. Over a period of several months. Look, I mean, assumptions can be made. Over a period of several months, I cooked regularly and starting with a teeny tiny bit of chili, I slowly increased the amount in our food. One day in a Thai restaurant, she was so thoroughly enjoying a dish and offered me a bite. It was so hot, it blew my head off. I was literally a victim of my own success. So he was like feeding her a little bit of spicy food.
Dude, how do you do that and you not like build up the same tolerance? Like, why is her tolerance that high all of a sudden? That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Honestly, see, Pavlov's dog it. Conditioning.
There you go.
It's required in a relationship. Take notes.
Take notes. And then I'll do this one, then I'll be done. This guy says that he watches TV shows, or he says, I watch TV shows we like without her because she talks through them. That's like such like a common thing that,
dude,
like,
I talk through TV too.
Like, just there's always one couple, like there's always one person in the relationship who doesn't speak and the other person who just talks through the entire thing. Like it's always one or the other.
Exactly.
And then he says, then I watch them with her and act like I have no idea what's going on.
If you can.
Right.
Like, what?
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I don't know that I'm a good enough actress. Actually, I probably could fake it. Yeah.
I think you could.
Yeah, I think I actually
because the
probably
stakes
could.
are like non-existent.
Like, so low.
Like, it's just a show.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, even not reacting is like.
Yeah, you just be like,
oh God, that's crazy. Nope.
Yeah.
You feel that coming?
Whoa, really did not see you.
I know, like why like what?
So unnatural. Like
why
for
are you
sure.
trying so hard?
Oh my gosh.
Goodness. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk
about a little change. And like just like putting up with things that you don't necessarily put up with. Like not having the most convenient, entitled, easy situation. Like, yeah, it's a little inconvenient. Yeah. Maybe you do have to listen to her chew, but like also you love this person.
Yeah.
And like her being healthy is cool.
100%.
You know, like I like to watch TV in silence.
Yeah.
And you're a chatterbox. I don't want you to feel like I don't want to hear you talk.
Yeah.
So I have a solution to that.
Yeah.
I'll watch it by myself and then like watch it with you while you talk. And it's not a big deal.
And everyone's happy. Exactly. No,
Keeping
I think
the peace. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think it's, I thought it was very sweet, especially since there's always so much like women hate men and men hate women all over the internet all the time. And like the discussions of dating and relationships and all that stuff in the world these days. So I thought it was just like a really sweet
breath of fresh air.
Literally like
we need more of that in the world, people.
People do love their partners, actually. And they do. They do.
Everyone that I know that's in a relationship is really like enamored by their significant other.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, where are you finding these people?
It's like I don't
I want
you know
these
what?
people. I'll tell you
I
one
stumbled
thing.
across.
Yeah,
it really was an
random,
accident.
Right? I will tell you this. I switched my Hinge to LA area, just to like see, like I'm gonna be living in this area in the near future. Let's see like what's going on here. I've gotten more matches in like a 3-day period than I've ever gotten in my entire life, and these like quality people that I would actually date. I'm like, damn, I really wish I was like, this is kind of a waste right now. I'm not moving for another 6 months, but Jesus Christ, I might have to.
You're like I might have to start.
You know, I'm in LA a lot, so.
Right? I mean, I feel like you could easily just like.
But that's far, bro.
Yeah,
that's far.
I mean, yeah.
That's
Talk
like,
about
it's the difference between like, oh, the idea, but then like the choice. Like,
It's
like, let's go over here tonight.
Right. That's a lot of like work.
2-hour drive.
Right.
Like,
yeah. There and back. Yeah.
I'm all right.
I'm
true. Tired. Sorry.
This is true. Well, I'm glad you have hope for your future dating prospects.
Always.
That's nice.
I mean, I've never been hopeless about dating.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
What?
Just like in the sense of like Hinge and like the dating apps. Yeah. Just like, what are these people I'm matching? Who are these people I'm matching with? Like, not feeling.
Like, you would be surprised, or I'm surprised that like LA has such like quality. I wasn't expecting it because it's LA.
That's where everyone goes.
Yeah, but like you think that's where everyone goes, so there's no reason for the ones that are quality to be on the apps.
Yeah,
these are cool people.
Yeah,
cool people. Like, wow, nice,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, that being said, I don't really know how to transition. Little changes that you make for your partner. Blah, 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 blah. But let's just get right into the episode because, yeah.
Do you think you've changed for your partner?
That is a great way to start this episode. Yeah. So much.
And I will note that to me, you're still very much Renee.
Yes.
So that should contextualize it for everyone who's listening to it. Because like for you yourself, you changed a shit ton. Yeah. But for me, it's just like, you're still the same. So I'm so excited and intrigued to see like what actually has changed besides you cooking a whole ass ribeye for a man. This girl was on my ass about this thing before. A little tangent segue.
Oh my gosh.
She was so adamant about never, ever in the history of her relationship cooking red meat for any, just at all. She's never going to cook that thing.
I don't eat meat.
And I quote, if my man's wanted red meat, he's going to cook that shit himself. And I was like, you know what? Man should know how to cook. That's fair. I get that. Literally 10 minutes ago, 15, 20 minutes ago, I'll say, this girl's talking to me about, do you have any recommendations for steak that I can cook because I'm making a romantic dinner for my man's? I was like, are you kidding me? You are in love with him. That's insane. Like if you want a surefire sign that this girl's in love, this is the thing. One thing she said she'd never do. I'm about to burn some steak for a dude. That's crazy.
It's inconsequential now.
Right? Now. It was such a big deal then. Now just steak. Oh, just that's it? Steak for you? Oh, I got you, man.
I know. Embarrassing. But here I am in love. I'm sprung.
She come got me doing things I never do. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you. Do, and that's not Baby Shark, but how have you changed? Let the people know, because we're all curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is, and we'll get into it with this episode. For myself, and I talk about this all the time with Matt, I really feel like I have glowed up as a person since being with him. Like and not to say that I couldn't have. You know what? We need people in our lives to help us become more of ourselves. And he has truly been a person where has been a like huge variable in like my growth and the success that I have, in the sense of like the ways in which like he has pushed me in like just like say like with like career stuff, like really advocating for myself in ways that I have not in the past and haven't necessarily felt challenged to. But yeah, I just feel like I'm more the person that I want to be, that like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the person that I wanted to be. I'm much closer to that today than I was then. And like, obviously at the end of the day, it was me having to put in that work, but he's really been like a huge part of like that support and even challenge as well, right? Just like who he is as a person, challenging me in ways that like there's like appropriate triggers in like relationships.
No, that's a great point. That's something we can definitely touch on after you finish your thing. But
yeah,
there is a certain necessary thing to like
your partner to trigger you.
Yeah, you guys should be button heads.
Yeah, just a little bit. So I don't know. Like I guess like I feel like I've healthier.
He is a health nut.
He is a big health nut, and I really he doesn't ever shame me. That's the thing. He's so nice. He's like, well, he's like, you can, I don't mind if you eat like McDonald's fries every once in a while. I just want you to be healthy though. And I'm like, well, I can't argue that.
Yeah, man.
Like then now I feel shame, but it's not because he's giving me any shame. I'm shaming myself.
Like, yeah, why do I feel this way? Like, why am I eating fries?
Exactly. McDonald's fries at that, but they're so good.
Yeah, they're good.
Anyways.
Not for $5 though. Y'all can keep your fries. Are you kidding me?
In this economy?
Yeah, McDonald's fries? Nah.
Can't
we
do
got
that.
fries at home.
Can't do that. But yeah, and and in ways of like aspects of like vulnerability and like realizing things about myself that I haven't realized before. And I just notice in general, and this is like a big thing, right? When you are the type of change that you are changing for your partner, I feel like I generally glow. Like I am a much happier person and more content than I was prior, but like I definitely like, I feel like I like enjoy life more. And like, I don't know, like I guess it's kind of hard to explain because like of this like relationship and the relationship that we've cultivated.
Now, if that's not the point of relationships, I don't know what the fuck is.
I agree.
That's crazy.
I agree.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and like, that's like really important that you have that. I think people oftentimes like really run away from that like notion that like we just said, like changing for a man, like that's crazy. Like
I can never.
I'm
safe,
so
though.
much better without a man and blah, blah, blah. Well, like this, and obviously this is for people who like men. You like men. Like obviously like from there, it's just finding the right man, a good man
And
to be with.
Yeah. To their point, you should be completely capable of existing without a man.
Totally.
That's not the point.
Right.
Nor the goal.
Right.
So to use that as a rebuttal to like your desire to be in a relationship is kind of useless. Like, what is that doing for you?
And it's just like we're social beings. Like we are this idea. And like I'll always say it, we live in a hyper individualistic society.
Yeah, we do.
And who like, shuns away, like, which is like also so like contradictory because like then we also like live at like America, like the nuclear family and like marriage being the priority and blah, blah, blah. But then we're also super hyper individualistic, but then try and prop up family. Like it doesn't make sense to me because we are social beings. We need relationships in order to like get through life. We are not meant to grow and do things alone. Yes, there are periods maybe of like loneliness or solitude that you will go through in life. And those can be really important growing moments for sure. But we do need friendship. We need family, as much as we may hate them sometimes. We need relationships. We need people in order to like grow and be better. And also we're just social beings. That's what we were meant to do, was interact with other humans. We were not meant to be like solitude beings. So like to like kind of completely shun like the idea of like, oh well, relationships, if you're growing relationships and blah, 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 it's bad, whatever. It's not. Like it's the growth is still there, and bless that person for being there to help you get to that point. Like thank God, very cool. But I do agree. Yeah, you don't want to like like you're always in relationships and you can only ever be in relationships and you're only changing for a man. Like obviously, yes, that's not what I'm saying.
Every extreme is trying to counteract the other extreme, right?
Yeah.
When most people exist right in the center of that, most people most people are self-sufficient, and they are seeking companionship.
Right.
Which you're the people we're talking to.
Yeah. No, exactly. If you are seeking, well, but that's what I'm saying is that everyone, because this doesn't necessarily have to apply to relationships. I think relationships are probably going to be to the like most extreme degree of like growth and change that you can experience, just given like the level of like closeness and intimacy you experience in a relationship. But I would argue your friends, you should be around people who make you better. You like, even family to a degree, if you use them in the right way, can make you better. Or
respectfully disagree. Respectfully disagree.
I'm just taking like the like stance of like what. Okay, you just went to fall, Mike. Anyways, just the stance of like what not to do. Like, do what you need to do. Okay.
Issues. You good? You got it?
I'm just taking like the like logical, like I'm just going on a loophole of like, okay, like your family can teach you like what not to do, so to speak.
Fair, okay.
They're being growth
I'll give you
in that aspect.
Jesus Christ.
I'm definitely like reaching a little bit there. I'll admit that. 100% will admit.
Reach away.
But even like, well, like my relationship with like my siblings, like that is like a really like cool relationship. And like, you know, there's something to be said. Someone who's known you since you were a little child, being able to still see you, that's a necessary part of like going through life, right?
I will argue too for you, actually more to that point. I think there is a benefit for a person that can watch your progression to speak into your life in some way. Because they are kind of like the checkpoints in which you can bounce off who you are. Like my growth from the time you met me till now is you notice that, you see that.
Yeah.
And you can kind of weigh that in relation to like where I'm going from here.
Right.
So if like I'm going way off the deep end out of nowhere, you can be like, hey, yo, what's going on? I would hope, I would wish, I would pray that like, you would be the one to be like, fam, what are you doing?
Right.
Versus like someone who just met you in your bullshit, they can't tell you anything.
Right. They have no perspective. Yeah. No, exactly. So relationships are super important.
Yeah.
In like the context of like romantic relationships, like specifically, it's just an inevitability that you will change as a person. And honestly, even to the negative note, whether for like you will leave a relationship a different person or a changed person or like an evolved person, or there'll be something that you've taken from a relationship, like regardless.
Because humans are very spongy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we're very spongy. So as much as we all like hate change, we're always changing,
right,
one way or another. So there's no experience that we have that we can walk away from unscathed,
right?
Which is why, you know, people are saying like, be careful who you interact with, because you are taking shit from them whether you want to or not, first of all. Second of all, I think the closeness and the intimacy of romantic relationships require that change. And for reasons that we're probably going to talk about in a second. It doesn't, you can't be that close to a person, you can't have that level of intimacy going into it the same way that you're trying to be in it. I don't think that really makes sense for anybody, because you are not the perfect iteration of what you need to be for the relationship. You can be the perfect iteration of what you need to be in this moment for yourself. But not for a new relationship with a relative stranger you are trying to create something with. Right. Relative stranger, not actual stranger. Calm down.
Right. But just like, now you're incorporating another human and considering their wants and needs. It's not just like your world.
Exactly.
No, definitely. And something that I thought, which I found to be very profound, that when I was like thinking about this was like, that, you know, you are going to change as a person. You should change as a person, and rather like not so much change, but that you are like, that are just like a relationship is going to like inspire your becoming, which I feel like is a word that's being often used actually a lot. Tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, like you are becoming. and like becoming more of like who you are. Because as you just stated, like when I was talking about, yeah, I feel like I've changed so much bit with my relationship, but you as my best friend of 7 years being like, you're still you. And that's like, yeah, like the core.
You just feel more of who you are.
Exactly.
Which, again, if that's not what relationships are for, I don't know what they're for, bro. I don't know what we all doing out here. Because they should enhance your experience and bring out the natural like essence.
Yes.
And then once that natural essence is out, it should like expand it.
Yeah.
Exponentially.
Exactly.
And if that's not happening, check your relationship.
Check it. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Really wreck yourself.
What are you gonna get it? I don't know what I was trying to do there.
Good. Keep on being yourself.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, there you go.
More of myself.
So weird. Maybe you be less of that. Because,
yeah, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, no, it is. Even like when I see myself like in like social situations, like I feel like I can like interact like so much better than I used to, because and that's just like the complementary aspect of my relationship specifically, because I feel like Matt is like, regardless, like if he like he's just gonna always like be himself. Like he never will like try and like pretend. He's just always who he is in like whatever situation. And that is something that I've like learned a lot from that. And like I'm very much like a people pleaser type. So I'm over here always trying to make sure everyone's good, or just like that I'm perceived a certain type of way. And since my relationship, you know, I feel like I've been able to just
trying harder,
yeah,
or trying less hard.
Yeah. Which feels like more like, I think about it, and this kind of goes into, I guess we can maybe go into this of just like healthy changes versus unhealthy changes that someone may experience in a relationship, and how to know what like the difference is, right? But when I think about how I interact now in social scenarios, I feel very much like my child self when I was, because I went through a really long period of time where I was really depressed, and through that, I thought I had social anxiety. I am definitely more introverted for sure. Like I do require a lot of alone time, and I do know that, but that's not without like, I do enjoy being social, and I can be and am outgoing when I'm in social situations. And I feel like I really lost that for a lot of years, like high school, college, where and when I was being social, it wasn't like I was like just mimicking and copying what other people were doing.
And you were using catalysts to get you to that.
Right. Alcohol. Right. I was, I wasn't just like existing. But now like I think about how I interact. And like, I remember during those times being like, I used to, cause like in elementary school, I was that girl. Like I had my
She was 100% the main character.
I literally, I had my little crew, and like, we were just running up and down that playground, just running shit, running
I was
shit.
running the playground. Yeah.
It was, and you know what? And the thing was, it was funny because it was actually like my girl group, and I was like the head of that girl group. And then there was like, it was a group of white girls. It was like, because for me, it was like the POCs versus the white girls. Literally.
That's crazy.
Literally. Because it was like me, who's like mixed, this Asian girl, a Hispanic girl, and another black girl. And it was us four that we were like best friends, and we were kind of like the crew. And then there's this group of white girls that we always had like little beefs over, and we'd go back and forth. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is to say I was so outgoing and like feisty and sassy and all these sorts of things when I was younger. And I felt like I had for a really long time lost touch with that aspect of myself. And it was really sad. And I know that you change and you grow, but I'm like, I was so like, just so like unapologetically myself as a kid. And like, I wasn't shy as a child necessarily. Like I was pretty like, I was pretty much me. And then, life happens and you kind of clam up.
Yeah. Things teach you that you probably shouldn't necessarily be full of yourself all the time.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe that's not what people want to see.
Right. But through my relationship, I feel like I've refound that aspect of myself, or starting to.
And I wonder, dude, if I could just theorize for a second.
Of course.
If that's a byproduct of being accepted for the fullness of your existence,
Totally. That's a big aspect. It's like not like him directly.
Accept me, then like I can be I'm just this, and I can like bring that out.
Yeah, no,
Nice.
definitely. That's for sure a big aspect. So it's not like he's sitting there like, be more social, like do it like this. And I'm like, okay, cool.
He
It's
just
very
accepts
much like
you.
an indirect, like, yeah, like kind of like a byproduct of the way that he loves me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But things that people take from things that people are not even like trying to give them.
Yeah.
Like you are given something that you needed without him trying to give that to you.
Yeah.
Which can easily work the other way too, because you can be trying to do something and they're interpreting it the complete opposite way. It's like, why are we having this disconnect so much? It's like, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with how they're accepting it.
Yeah.
And having like the understanding to know the difference is not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Low key. Sometimes you be trying to fix things and approach situations, trying to make people feel better about the context when it has nothing to do with your ability to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So talk about compatibility.
yeah, no, definitely. And that's like kind of like what is that, right? The healthy like change is that, like we said, like you are more of yourself. And sometimes like, yeah, that is like you looking different to like other people and whatnot. And that's also for like you to like understand within yourself of like, okay, is this like the good sort of change or I don't want to say bad sort of change, but maybe somewhat maladaptive, or you're taking a step back or whatnot. And a lot of that you have to have like a certain amount of like intuition and trust in yourself of like what that is. And obviously I'm going to make this disclaimer because I can't get it out of my head. I don't know if it's obvious to say, but disclaimer, we're not talking about like abusive relationships or like change in the sense of like, like having a controlling partner.
The way that I like to differentiate it is, if you're you shouldn't be changing for a person. You should be changing as a byproduct of your relationship with someone.
Right.
If a person is actively trying to get you to do something completely different that's completely unaligned with who you are,
yes,
that's not the change that we want to see in the world.
Yeah, it's not the change you want to see. No, that's true. I framed it in a very similar way. I framed it as like changing for someone versus changing because of someone. So like changing for is like more like reactionary and is like survivalistic, whereas changing because is more like symbiotic and interactive.
Right.
And so there's just like, there's a different, like connotation to that for sure.
Well, I have a bunch of healthy things that people should be changing for, but I think it'd be more interesting if we start with the unhealthy things.
I was gonna say, let's do with the unhealthy for sure.
What do you got for me?
Some of the things that I wrote down just kind of off the top of my head, first being isolation. I feel like that's like a pretty like obvious one. Just like isolation from like friends, family, just like people, maybe like your regular like routine that you maybe engage in, or then now you're not necessarily engaging in as much.
They're trying to like take you away from other people you hang out with and shit like that.
Yeah. Codependence also being another one. So like an inability to be without your partner. That's not such a healthy change that should be happening. You should still be able to live your life and do the things that you want to do, still have some, as much as I said, hyper independence is horrible, but you should still exist in some aspect as your own self within your relationship.
You should have
as well.
a sense of self within your relationship.
Exactly. Numbing habits such as like excessive drinking, smoking, drug use. Also, as I said, like the isolation thing, like doing things like even like other maladaptive habits. Like if you stop working out, that was something that you really enjoyed doing and you stop doing that thing, or like you stop going to like, I don't know, whatever like book club that you would go to, like that you would socialize in, like these like kind of maladaptive habits where you're
want to
disengaging,
be like alone or whatever. Like, why aren't you hanging out with me?
Right. Or there's like the codependence aspect where you don't want to be without them or whatnot. And then the last one that I put was I kind of had a hard time like phrasing it right, but like feeling as if it is whatever like persona that you are presenting in this relationship, whatever person you are being in the relationship is hard to maintain. It is not sustainable to maintain that person. So whatever,
like you're putting on a facade.
Yeah, whatever thing that you are presenting to your partner it's like there's cracks in it or whatnot. You're not able to like maintain that because it's not authentically you at the end of the day. And that one comes just with a lot of, like I said, at the end of the day, this like I think there's intuition at play here where you just kind of have to know like, okay, like this is not, I'm not like actually like being myself. Right. And then also like, and that just can go into a whole other conversation of like getting into a relationship under like false premises. You're not really like being yourself.
Isn't it all kind of like false premises?
Yeah, I know. And then you just kind of slowly open up. Yeah, no, that is very true. Cause I think I often like talk about like, oh, you need to be open and vulnerable. Like
I ain't doing that with
in
the
the
stranger,
relationship,
fam. I'm not going to.
Right. There's like, yes, that is true, but it happens gradually over time. And I think that's something that I've personally have never like made the distinguish between was that like, it is something that happens gradually over time and you're not going to reveal everything all at once. You may not even know exactly what needs to be revealed in that moment. You know, it's something that as you become comfortable with the person, you do. So that being said, that doesn't mean that you're not being open and vulnerable when there's certain things that you don't yet talk about. It's just that it takes time to talk about those things, and that's okay as well.
I'm trying to think of how vulnerability looks at the beginning of a relationship. Like, what are you vulnerable about?
Yeah, I mean,
me, nothing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
I
nothing.
literally do not know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, there's like an association with vulnerability with like flaws, like opening up about flaws or bad traits about yourself, or like, you know, showing more of like the not so good sides of yourself, or that you're at least perceived not so good sides of yourself that
Like
may or may
what?
not actually
Like
be
I
good
chew
or
loudly,
bad.
or like what?
Or like I have anxiety and depression.
Stuff
You know
like
what I
that,
mean?
yeah.
Or like like I don't know, like some something that for me was like that I always like before I got into my relationship, I always like had a fear that like my partner would like not would just see this as really bad, because we live in such a we need to be productive in society like world, and I judge myself for this, so hence why I feel this way. Like I sometimes need like 2 or 3 days. Well, I don't always have that amount of time, but sometimes I spend both days off of like just rotting in bed, like just absolutely rotting in bed. And I mean that like the true meaning of that word, like just sit in bed and do absolutely nothing.
Becoming the bed.
I am becoming something. Yeah, exactly.
I'm becoming something. Hey,
Right.
like, what? Oh, bye.
I really have like I go through these periods of like real hermit mode where like I just like I need to like not really interact with too many people. I just want to be by myself. I just want to like watch TV or like read my book all day. And I was always kind of nervous about how that would look, you know, like, oh, she's like lazy. Oh, like, okay, maybe her depression is like, maybe she's like super depressed and like maybe it's like not something I can deal with. And it's like, no, I'm like a good person, but like just sometimes
I just want to be allowed.
I just want to be alone for a little bit of time. I swear.
Dude, who the fuck would demonize that? That's kind of crazy.
Right. And exactly. Like at the end of the day, it's these like it's a projection of how you feel about yourself.
I think about all the things that I consider my flaws. I'm just like, I'm not going to tell people that, because if I did, they wouldn't want to talk to me type shit. Yeah. You know?
But that's the vulnerability aspect.
No,
is that
the really problematic, really aggressive things.
Oh.
Like I'm not going to tell people that. My real opinions about things, nah.
Yeah.
You have to get to know me before I can tell you.
But
like
that's the vulnerability aspect, though, of it, is that like, I mean, there's certain things that I'm not going to say on this podcast that are things that I are not necessarily like, no, like things that like are not desirable things that I find about myself, but like they're things that I have like been open and vulnerable about, and that's like kind of the open and vulnerable piece, is because they're things that I'm like, I know that this like comes across a certain way or looks a certain way or is a certain way. And like, I know it kind of is not my most shining like attribute or like trait, but yet here we are, you know? We all have those 100%. If someone tells you that they don't, they're a liar, in my opinion. But yeah, just like,
what if you just like every part about yourself?
And you know what? Then maybe I don't know.
Say it. Say what you gotta say.
I was like, I would urge you to go to therapy to seek diagnosis.
Unpack
seek diagnosis for narcissism, personality, narcissistic personality disorder.
Go off.
Just kidding. We just had a podcast about that. But yeah, I feel like those sorts of things, I like mainly like maladaptive like behaviors in some way. I know some people like, well, that's not relevant, but yeah, just like more so like maladaptive behaviors or feeling as if like you are turning into a person that you does not resonate with you or is kind of straying away from like who you are or whatnot. I think that's like, those are like the key. I don't know if you have like any like additions to like,
I don't have any bad stuff. I only
healthy.
looked at the healthy stuff
like,
for whatever
only the
reason.
good.
For what, like usually I'm so like negative focused, but
yeah, you are. That's how I was like, huh. Yeah. What a nice little change.
What a nice little shift. I'm growing.
I'm here for
whatever.
it. Yeah.
The thing that does stick out to me about the negative stuff though, it is like 100% embedded in control.
Yeah.
Right. Any change that is a direct response to a person that's trying to control who you are as a person or your behavior or limit access to a certain thing or give you more of a certain thing, whether you want it or not, is not a good thing. Right. Even you can look at it even from the healthy side, right? Because we have this bias that like, oh, if they're making like drink and smoke more, that's bad. If like they're making you eat healthy and exercise, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not gonna argue with that. I agree with that notion. I'm not gonna put that on the internet talking about like maybe you need a little more balance in that. But if you are like a healthy person, it's like you work out once a week and they're like, no, you need to work out 7 times a week with me.
Yeah.
Then
there's still like an undertone of like negativity with that, where it's like, no, you need to like, there's like a judgment if you, as like I was literally just saying, like, I was saying it while we're recording, right? Of like Matt being like, if you eat a McDonald's fry, like,
you did say that.
if you eat a McDonald's fry, like, that's fine. I just do want you to be healthy as well. There's no judgment in like
there's
me
no
having
demand either.
Yeah, exactly. There's that difference where there's like the judgment involved in that,
like,
and whether that person like means to be like toxic or like controlling or not, that's just sometimes you bring out.
That doesn't necessarily mean like they're a horrible person.
Right.
It just means that what they're doing right there is not necessarily like, you don't want to conform to that. Yeah. You might want to have a conversation about that and their approach and, communicate that out. Right. Iron out that wrinkle, because it is a wrinkle. Yeah. And, maybe if you like want to party and they're over here like trying to keep you in the house all the time, it's like you don't need to go out and be drinking alcohol. Like, I haven't been out since the 3 months we've been dating. So like, I'm going to the bar with my homies. Like, what do you mean? Right. Then, like, people oftentimes use like positive notions to justify their toxic behavior is what I'm getting at. Totally. So don't think that just because it's packaged as a good thing that it's necessarily a healthy thing for you in your relationship. And that takes a lot of checking in with yourself and making sure that like, is it something that I'm like doing for him? Because there are some stuff that you will be doing for your partner, but are you doing it like for your partner? You don't want to do it, but you're doing it anyways, or is it like, I can do this. It's not a big deal. Right. Her chewing is not that crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna keep going back to that. I like that one. That one's good. But yeah, for some healthy things. Yeah.
Let's hear him.
Positive/natural changes that people should go through. New hobbies. Yeah. I like that one. That is a good one. So I would say I'm a hobbyist. I have a lot of things I like to do, right? Music, singing, travel. Is travel even a hobby? I don't know.
Can be, yeah. I would say so.
Cooking, food, stuff like that. Yeah. And a lot of people that I meet are not like as into those things as I am. And I like that. I think it's more interesting that way because we can explore new things that I can introduce them into stuff, which is a very fun thing for me to do. Yeah. But you should want to like explore things from your partner's perspective. If they like skateboarding, pick up a board. That's not crazy. Yeah. And if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, also cool. But if you want to like rollerblade while they're riding their bike or something, or vice versa, then why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It costs you nothing to like go for a run. I ran a marathon because of this chick, man. When was the last time I freaking ran anything? Never.
Ran half marathon, 13 miles.
Freaking miles. And now I was just telling Renee earlier, it's like, I can't stop.
Yeah. Here you are.
I built up to being able to run 13 miles.
Right.
Now I'm going to keep running. That's a new hobby though. I'm a runner. See,
right.
well, I have a new hobby now. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm getting far. 13 miles.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
That is
So
way better than I could.
Yeah. Oof. Anyways, so yeah, new hobby. And I don't necessarily enjoy running, but like I'm running and it's nice and it's healthy and it's beneficial and it's cool. It's interesting. I can tell people
and you're
I
having
run.
like a shared experience that's like fun and enhancing life.
Exactly. So hobbies is a good one. What you wear and the way you like do your hair, your facial hair, your grooming situation, within reason, right? I know that one's like a very
that can be like like what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Exactly. So I'm not talking about the high value man that's giving you a long bullet list of how you need to dress and how you need to act and how you need to exist around him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about one thing that girls that I used to date all used to do for me. I am obsessed with rompers. I love a good romper.
Not the
bro.
word that I thought was going to come out of your mouth. A romper?
What do you think I was going to say?
Is that just like the sexiest thing to you? Like,
yeah, low key.
He was like, girl, if you just put on a romper,
that's all I need.
That word
That's
alone is so like not sexy. Like so not it.
love
But yeah,
them.
here you are. You're like, yeah, go just put on a
Just
romper
put on a romper
for me.
for me.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just like that. I love that shit, bro. That shit's fire. That shit's so fire. I love a good romper. I love a good romper, right?
Okay.
I'm not gonna apologize for that.
Each their own. I mean, it does what it does.
It does. It does. Especially, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get
you don't
into
have to.
a good romper.
Please don't actually.
Please, actually, don't do that. I'm good. We're all good.
Yeah. Speaking for the entire audience here, I think we can agree. You don't need to go into detail.
But it's fine. And they would like go out their way to like wear rompers when they hang out with me. Or they'll like go out their way to wear like my favorite color. Or I really like lavender scents. Right? And they'll like buy like a lavender soap to like wear, lavender perfume, shit like that.
There's definitely something to be said, like when your partner like says to you like, oh, I really like your hair like that. And then now like then you do your hair like that all the time, or like every so special because you know that they really enjoy it. And it's just such like a mutually enjoyable experience because like they're really loving seeing you like that and you're really loving the attention of like them enjoying you.
Right.
You know, and it's just like such like a and that goes on both ends. Like I like even like
I definitely like changed the length of my beard based on
like a girl says like, oh,
I really
like
long beards and I'll grow it out for you, chick. Why not?
Why
that costs
not?
me nothing.
No, exactly.
Like I really like short facial hair. I'll shave that thing. I don't mind.
It's like, wow, I really like your cologne or perfume, and so now you wear it all the time.
Exactly.
Like douse yourself in it. Just a bucket.
Oh, you like this shit? Say less.
Say less. Oh my gosh.
That's how you have to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what you do. So.
Yeah, no, that in that context, it is like very sweet. 100%.
It's cute. I like that stuff. 100%. I do that all the time. Please let me know how I can appear more attractive to you.
Yeah.
And why the fuck not? It's only helping both of us.
Especially when it's like still adhering to like whatever like yours. It's not like going outside of whatever like is authentic style to yourself. You know,
wore your hair like that without request.
Exactly.
So
and they like it.
You are. It's not like I only date girls that wear sundresses and tennis shoes.
Right.
Why are you wearing jeans, bitch? Take that off. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Very different. Very different.
Hopefully you guys are not finding people that are like that.
Yeah.
That's insane. Social habits was another one. So if not to, once we say that, we immediately go to like the most aggressive extremes of all time.
Totally.
It's like, oh, if they're a nightlife DJ clubber, you got to be in the club every freaking night. Yeah, like right there behind them. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's if they are like more extroverted, then you can like go hang out with them and go explore those things. Expand your ability to socialize. and that can be like the challenging aspect, right?
Yeah.
Challenging things like, oh, I am less comfortable in these contexts. I only like interacting at bars and restaurants. It's like, well, let's go to this museum with like this club. Let's go on this tour.
Yeah.
And like interact with that. And that's like a new thing to like, you can expand your social situation, and then also you can be in a new context with this person. And you can see them in a different interaction.
Totally.
Like, oh, I want to go karaoke.
And that can also work like vice versa as well. Like being like, if you have like a more introverted and then extroverted partner, like
let's work together.
The introverted partner can be like the extroverted person can learn to like do like more like chill, stay at home things, not necessarily needing always like a bunch of people around them. Yeah. External stimulation or interaction or whatever to like feel okay. Or honestly, are my extroverted folks okay? Like, are they good? Because I feel like half the extroverted friends I have, they're like, I can't be alone. I can't be alone with my own thoughts.
That's a separate issue.
And I'm like,
that person is not okay.
I'm like,
that person is not okay at all.
Yeah. But, yeah. So I think it definitely can go vice versa for sure.
And then another one that I think you would find very relevant is communication styles.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one.
And I think that happens without you even trying to.
Yeah.
Just by communicating. You can't, the way you communicate that makes sense to you is something you definitely have to shift and bend according to what your partner responds to and resonates with.
No, 100%. Having to convey, like, you in your head, you make so much sense.
Right. And you're always right.
Exactly. 100%. But then having to like verbalize and string words and sentences together that like make sense and create understanding, that's a little bit harder to do.
Yeah.
And having to practice that muscle is so good and so necessary.
Very useful for
so
expanded from like the relationship itself.
Yeah.
But also, like you were saying, like it could be a tone thing or a volume thing.
Yeah.
Like,
we said that in previous episodes.
I get passionate when I speak, and he doesn't like that. So let me learn how to like communicate in a more effective way for him.
Right.
Vice versa.
Right. 100%. So, yeah. No.
Communication.
Very useful.
Very, very useful. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is that important? Why are these things important? Why do they matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like it can be hard when you are in a relationship or interacting with someone that you're dating. It can be hard distinguishing between like when you're in the moment, when you really like them and you're really into them. It can be hard to distinguish between like, okay, is this like me like trying to change myself to fit into a box of a person that I think they're going to like and they're going to want to be with? Or is it just like a good natural change of just interacting in a relational way with another human being? And that can be...
oh, sorry. We can go.
I was just say, like, I feel like especially like in like your early mid 20s, just in your 20s in general, as like it's like really like when people are really dating in like a serious way, that can be, as you're doing that, kind of hard to distinguish. So kind of going through and like talking about those differences. And like we said, like, you know, a lot of it can be intuition as well. Like I can't say for you exactly what that looks like always, right? It's knowing that for yourself and kind of having those constant check-ins to know.
I was going to ask you, think if it's like what does that look like? And you answer that. Now you don't know. But I will say that as a friend, I think it's easier to tell when it's not that than when it is that.
Totally.
Because like I said, in an ideal sense, in your situation, it should just be more of yourself. Right? And if when you're with your friends, I would hope that you're like the most yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So like it shouldn't be that crazy, that difference. But like friends are very useful in telling when you're not being yourself. It's like, what is going on with you? Like something's off. This is strange. Like you're acting in a way that doesn't make sense. I haven't seen you in X amount of time. Like what's going on? Yeah, totally. So they can be the checks and balances in that sense.
Yeah. No, that is very true. That was another thing that like I had written down of like, okay, like what happens when like a friend comes to you and is like, you know, you've changed, like you since you've been in a relationship, you're not this or that. And I think that is something, I mean, because I've had like all different types of like friendships in my life, and some of those friendships, if someone came to me and told me you've changed,
You'd be
I'm like,
good.
honestly, probably for the better, because
Right.
I wasn't necessarily like, and that's not that person's fault, like, but I wasn't necessarily like as I was interacting in that friendship, it was kind of taking like a note out of my own like book of like changing for your partner. Let's talk about like changing for your friends, like putting on a persona so that you can interact in a group and like fit into a group. Like that can be applied so seamlessly there as well.
You know what I think that looks like more than actually like changing for your friends? I think most of the time people find themselves in a dynamic and then they grow out of it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's actually so true.
So it's like,
Yeah.
you're not going to, especially most people, especially as you get older, like around my age, it's like, they're not going to meet a person and be like, oh, these friends like to party. I'm going to start partying now more because my friends like to party.
Yeah.
Easy example is this freaking restaurant that I relate to nobody at, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to be doing what they do because like, I'm not the type of person.
Yeah.
But if I meet a person and I'm a partier and I'm a drinker and I'm a smoker and all my friends are like that too, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, you know what? I'm over this shit, dog. Being high all the time is not it.
Yeah.
And then you just stop doing that.
Yeah.
You stop having things in common with those people.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm not that person anymore.
Yeah.
Like, damn, bro, you changed. It's like, yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
not trying to get high all the time.
Right.
Like, what do you mean?
No, that's a much better way to put it, because that's for sure it. So yeah, I think when you are presented with that question, kind of understanding or knowing which friend it is, right? Like what kind of friend it is.
And you can, I would hope.
Yeah.
This is my hope that it's easy to tell that.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Well,
I have
and
friends that I like interact with because of the history of our interaction, and they don't necessarily reflect where I am at this point in time, but I can still enjoy the presence.
Right.
But if they told me that it's like, you're acting different, I'll be like, thank you for noticing finally after like 5 years.
Oh no.
It's like,
Yeah.
how it took you 5 years to notice that? Cool.
Right.
Versus like, say like the homie over here, like, why are you behaving like this? Then I'd be like, I don't know.
I need to
like, what do you mean by
self-reflect.
that? I would
Okay.
actually just.
What do you mean about that?
what,
Sorry, there's
what
like
do you,
a video. Do you know what I'm talking about?
what do you mean by that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. And like once again in that situation, it's kind of knowing. I also think like knowing, like how you said, like you should know which friend that is, or I hope you should know which friend that is. I think that's also like dependent on how like attached that you still are to those friendships or that friend group or that friend dynamic, even though you see yourself, because as we've stated, humans don't enjoy change, but change happens. Right. So, as you may be growing out of a dynamic, you may still be attaching yourself to, I've definitely done this, still attaching yourself to that dynamic and trying to keep yourself within it, even though you're no longer fitting in it anymore.
And to that, I would say the defining factor is vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because you're not bringing your vulnerable moments to those people.
Yeah.
You definitely interact with them in a very specific context, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Like, I'm not, if something like crazy happens, you're not the person I call.
Yeah.
And if you're not the person I call, probably not going to take your word for it when you're like, you're so different, bro. I don't know what happened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, 100%. That is very true. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I agree with this. Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah. I feel like it like kind of fell off, and I was like, do I need to like wrap that last sentence up before like we like close off? But
no, nothing.
I'm trying to think. It was just
I want to talk about that point that you were making.
Yeah, I do.
About how people need challenge, right? And what that looks like and how that like operates in like relationships.
Oh, like you need to be a little triggered by your partner?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I had something to say. I'm like trying to like make it make sense from the overall conversation.
Gotcha.
So I think I'm gonna stop saying I think. There's a thing I noticed that people often are like in this discussion, in the spirit of like hyper individualization and like wanting to maintain this super strong sense of self.
Yeah.
They resist any and all challenge that their partner is like presenting them, whether intentionally or accidentally.
Totally.
And I kind of want to like kind of explore that a little bit and really find a path. There's like a specific conversation I'm thinking of when I hear this, because both great people, love them both. I think they're like individually they're really cool, but also together like they make sense.
Yeah.
But they were having a conversation with each other where it's like they were just completely unbending in their points.
Okay.
Which, you know, on one hand, it's like cool. Like if you feel something that strongly, don't be weak-willed, I guess, for lack of a better word. But also, is it necessary to feel that strongly?
Yeah.
For that point. So where is the limit to where like a challenge is like meant to just be resisted, and when you should like take that challenge and be like, no, actually, why do I feel this strongly about this?
Yeah.
What is this like? Why? What is this resistance telling me about myself?
Yeah.
And this relationship?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it all comes down to like the why you're holding on to it. Like the thing that you're being challenged on, why is it something that you are resistant to? It really comes down to like that association with like your relationship with that thing.
Do you think that it's something that like if you both are like disagreeing on a certain thing that you both feel strongly about,
yeah,
should you guys compromise in that? Because I did say before, like, I don't believe in compromise.
Yeah, you did.
I think compromise is kind of
yeah
bullshit. But
I mean,
like, because that is technically like a change for your partner, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to use their example because I know I'm talking about them.
Yeah. I'm trying to like think of an example in my own relationship and relate it, because there has to be like, I don't know that I...
At first, the example that comes to mind is, what was he talking about? You guys we were talking about this, and I was trying to like take his side. Oh, it was the girls' trip.
Oh, the girls' trip thing. Yeah, but that's been completely debunked in so many ways since we had that disagreement.
So you guys, it's like not a thing that has
because
both.
Well, this was the thing with that was that I guess to clue in the audience on this, at the beginning of Matt and I's relationship, there was like he felt a certain type of way about girls' trips. There was just an association with it, like whether it was with his boys or like conversations on the internet about like girls, and they go on girls' trips, like they cheat, they do this, that,
and they do. If you stay on the internet for any amount of time, you'll see that girls' trips are ridiculous,
and you'll never know about it, et cetera, et cetera. So like, your girl's gonna be doing all this crazy stuff, and like you're never gonna know about it, blah blah blah. So there was a lot of like,
is it really even a problem? Out of sight, out of mind type shit. Irrelevant. Go ahead. Continue your story.
But there was a lot of like, worry from like his end about that. Just like, I see these things. And so I don't think you are this person, but it does make me like, and that's just like the thing with the internet is like, you will place these like things and ideas and like then form these insecurities that you didn't really have at first on to yourself and then onto your partner, even though neither you or that person has ever like shown anything to
this is
be
not a
that
thing that's happening in our reality.
This is not our reality. This is just like a concept that you saw on like a Instagram reel. But like since then we've like, and like a whole other thing, I won't go too much into his own personal journey of just like him having his own journey and realizing things, and like it's just not a thing, as we've like stated, like, and there's like been things for me like with him where like I've had like, oh, are you like just like cheating on me with like girls on Instagram, or like Instagram has always been such a huge insecurity for myself, liking people's pictures and all these sorts of stuff. And like it's a thing that exists, you see on the internet, of people having this experience and people talking about this experience with their boyfriends, but isn't actually a reality that is existing in our relationship specifically. So I feel like that's like a different thing. I do think there have been things in our relationship though, where and I'm going to be vague about this because it's just too personal, but I've done things a certain way and done things in general made actions that Matt has seen as like, I would not have done that. And like, I don't necessarily like agree with that action. And there is like that disagreement because there is an element of like values and I guess like there's an element of like your values and as a person, how you integrity maybe as a person, a conversation in that. And those aspects, it's been almost an agreement to disagree, but also just more so of like, you are going to be your own human. And I'm not going to always say or believe, or I'm not going to always like be like, I don't want to say like, what's the word?
Like complicit?
Yeah, I'm not going to always necessarily agree with every single thing that you do or have done, but I love you and I support you. And like, we don't always have to approach things or see things in the exact same way. So it's less of a compromise and more just a recognition of your partner being their own individual human and like knowing when to differentiate between allowing your partner to just be who they are and also allowing for change that's necessary for the entity that is the relationship. See? It can be hard to distinguish. I will say.
I am 100% glad that we went
down that path, yeah,
because that's a very, very great and important distinction. Because in this like binary of change for your partner, don't change for your partner, how to change for your partner, it implies that change is always necessary, right? If we're evolving beings, then change should be required. But
yeah,
that's equally as like relevant and valuable because you are, a lot of the reasons why you're with this person that you're with is because they're their own individual.
Yeah.
And the things that make them an individual are things that you actually like about them. So kind of being a force that maintains that is just as important as catalyst for their like growth and change and shit like that. So yeah, I respect that. That's cool. Yeah. That's super, 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 super cool. And I guess only you can understand when that like headbutting is like a deal breaker for you. Yeah. Because I have lots of things that I'm not going to change for anybody. Yeah. And if like you don't like the way I do that certain thing, then I'm not your person.
There you go. You know yourself.
I'm okay with not being a lot of people's. Yeah. Yeah. So, but a lot of people will and there's like two, like I think we mentioned it a little bit. There are certain things that you should change because your partner wants you to change it. Yeah. Like the liking Instagram pictures. It costs you nothing. Right. Why do you need to be liking people's Instagram pictures? You don't. You know? Yeah. I can't think of one for dudes, but dudes don't really have that much shit that bothers them. Like tiny shit that bothers them. Yeah. Let me see. Man equivalent for liking. Guy friends, but that's an entire other like spiral. Yeah, I don't know. But like within reason, I think that it's perfectly reasonable for you, if you're getting serious with a person, to cut out unnecessarily men in your life. Yeah, if you're a girl, right? Totally, 100%. Like, why do you need that person if they're not like a close friend and they're just kind of chilling? Maybe you guys hooked up a couple times. Like just chill. Yeah, like, that just needs to be. You don't need those people if you're like serious with a person. Yeah. I agree. So there, perfectly equivalent. So those are some things that you might want to consider, keep in mind, but not everything. And sometimes it's better, or not better, but sometimes it's necessary for you to stand your ground and be your own person. Yeah. And then like cross those bridges when you get to it. Cause like you can't be everything for your partner. Right. At the beginning, at the same time as a process. Right. That happens over time. And if you're committed to the process, then you're committed to the person, and you're committed to the growth and the changes that need to take place for you guys to have the best and most productive and efficient relationship that you possibly can. Yes. And I think that's a beautiful sentiment. I agree. No, I agree with that 100%. Nice, short, quick, and in a hurry. Yeah. Not too much to say about that. No, but I do we wanted to dispel the myth that changing for your partner is such a bad thing. Yeah, exactly. So, we wanted to put our 2 cents in. This is our official stamp. Yeah, our official commentary. Exactly. Because I hear it too much. Yeah. Especially on like this is not even on the internet. This is just personal in my life. Like people struggling and just going back and forth like He wants me to do this. She wants me to do this. I'm doing this. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't. And that's also okay.
Right. And only you will know. Truly. Is as is the conclusion for a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Only you can know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's an annoying answer, but
it is super annoying.
Yeah.
But like
but
the moment we try to like pick a scenario is the moment everybody's upset. So we're not we're talking about a very specific person. And and you can't
like give like specific, like this is what you need to do without having your own like bias. You're projecting your own like situation.
Yeah. Like never listen to them. Like, okay, that's what? Never change. Be your own individual person. They'll either adjust or like get rid of them.
Right.
That's a perfectly good relation. You're just throwing away for no reason.
Right.
Crazy.
Exactly.
So, be reasonable.
Be reasonable.
I think that's why we say the things like we at the end of the day are reasonable as people.
Yes.
And we are imploring our audience to also be reasonable people. Do everything within reason. Like change within reason. Adjust within reason. Fight within reason.
Yeah.
The moment it becomes unreasonable, then you're not doing the thing that we want you to do.
Yes.
See, we've changed actualization to reason. I love this.
There we go.
Progression.
We're
I'll call
evolving.
that growth too.
Yes.
There you go. But that's that on that. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Let me know what you guys think are useful changes that you've made for your partner.
That's a good one.
If you think that it was, or even if your ex, I think it's more interesting. If you've been in a relationship before, you've broken up and you changed for your partner, what did you change? And do you think in now hindsight 2020 that was like a good change for you to make?
Yeah, definitely. And as usual, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, like our Facebook page, all that stuff. Please support us. We are posting.
Yes.
We are posting now.
We are.
If you heard our last episode, you know why we weren't posting. But yes.
I'm still traumatized.
We will continue to talk about this till we're blue in the face because Jem is traumatized.
A little bit.
He handles all of that back of house stuff.
But now, I think it was like a necessary thing because now as we grow bigger and now next year we're going to be bringing more people with bigger files and more cameras and all this stuff. 4K maybe, high definition.
We'll have a third mic, maybe get some guests
all this crazy stuff.
That's what I'm excited for.
The files are going to be bigger.
Yeah.
And I need a more I need a more reliable storage method. And now I know that they exist. So here we are. Everything's necessary. And that's that on that. But at the end of the day, I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we're the Intellectuals signing off until next time.
Bye.